Hey everybody, sorry my little lamp here is busted and I have to fix it. I've been moving it around way too much and this disconnected from the arm. So good news. We have, thank you to Sue Prov, um, Little Men, and that will be next. That will be next. It doesn't look, it looks bigger or it looks thinner, but it's because the pages are bigger and the lettering is smaller. So not everybody's here yet, but that's okay. I'm going to be right back. I have to go and check on my boiling eggs. Is that too bright? I got to go check on my boiling eggs. I'm making pickled eggs tomorrow. I'll be right back since nobody's here just this second. Please excuse my PJs. And my lack of brassiere. I'm really sorry, folks, but it's been one of those days. You ever had one of those days? I went, let's see how this is. I went to go and buy stamps and stuff. And then my card was declined and it turned out that I made a mistake with shopping and did I ever feel stupid? Hey! So, soon as Little Women is done, I think we got 3 more chapters. We will proceed on with the Little Men. Okay? So, hi, Leanne. Let's move this for a second here. Open this up. Chapter 44. Hello, everybody. And I have editing to do tonight for tomorrow's video. 1 chicken, 4 meals, all in one video. All right. Little Women. Got to be really careful because I don't want to break it off again. Okay. All righty. Little Women Live, Chapter 44, My Lord and Lady. Please, Madam Mother, could you lend me my wife for half an hour? The luggage has come, and I've been making hay of Amy's Paris finery. Trying to find some things I want, said Laurie, coming in the next day to find Mrs. Lawrence sitting in her mother's lap as if being made the baby again. Certainly. Go, dear. I forgot that you have any home but this. And Mrs. March pressed the white hand that wore the wedding ring as if asking pardon for her maternal covetedness. I shouldn't have come over if I could have helped it, but I can't get on without my little woman I shouldn't have come over if I could have helped it, but I can't get on without my little woman any more than a weathercock without wind, suggested Joe as he paused for a simile. Joe had grown quite her own saucy self again since Teddy came home. Exactly, for Amy keeps me pointing due west most of the time, with only an occasional whiffle around to the south. And I haven't had an easterly spell since I was married. Don't know anything about the north, but I'm altogether salubrious and balmy, hey, my lady? Lovely weather so far. I don't know how long it will last, but I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning how to sail my ship. Okay, sorry. I thought that was Amy replying. It wasn't. It was Lawrence. Lovely weather so far. I don't know how long it will last, but I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning how to sail my ship. Come home, dear, and I'll find you your boot jack. I suppose that... Oh, okay. It was Amy. Holy smokes, folks. All right. Lovely weather so far. I don't know how long it will last, but I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning to sail my ship. Come home, dear, and I'll find your boot jack. I suppose that's what you're rummaging af- after among my things. Men are so helpless, mother, said Amy with a matronly air which delighted her husband. What are you going to do with yourselves after you get settled? Asked Joe, buttoning Amy's cloak as she used to button her pinafores. We have our plans. We don't mean to say much about them yet, because we're very much new brooms, but we don't intend to be idle. I'm going into business with a devotion that shall delight grandfather and prove him that I'm not spoiled. I need something of a sort to keep me steady. I'm tired of dawdling and mean to work like a man. And Amy, what is she going to do? Asked Mrs. March, well pleased at Laurie's decision and the energy with which he spoke. After doing the civil all around and airing our best bonnet, we shall astonish you by the elegant hospitalities of our mansion, the brilliant society we shall draw about us, and the beneficial influence we shall exert over the world at large. That's about it, isn't it? Isn't it, Madame Recamier? Asked Laurie with a quizzical look to Amy. Time will show. Come away, impertinence, and don't shock my family by calling me names before their faces, answered Amy, resolving that there should be a home with a good wife in it before she set up a salon as queen of society. How happy those children seem together, observed Mr. March, finding it difficult to become absorbed in his Aristotle after the young couple had gone. Yes, I think it will last, added Mrs. March, with the restful expression of a pilot who has brought a ship safely into port. I know I will. Happy Amy, Joe sighed, and then smiled brightly as Professor Bear opened the gate with an impatient push. Later in the evening, when his mind had been set at rest about the boot jack, Laurie said suddenly to his wife, who was flirting about arranging her new art treasures, Mrs. Lawrence, my lord, what that man intends to marry our Joe. That man intends to marry our Joe. I hope so, don't you, dear? Well, my love, I consider him a trump, in the fullest sense of that expressive word, but I do wish he was a little younger and a good deal richer. Now, Laurie, don't be too fastidious and worldly minded. If they love one another, it doesn't matter a particle how old they are or how poor. Women never should marry for money. Amy caught herself up short as the words escaped her and looked at her husband, who replied with malicious gravity, Oh, my dear, oh, certainly not. Though you do hear charming girls say that they intend to do it sometimes, if my memory serves me. You once thought it your duty to make a rich match. That accounts, perhaps, for your marrying a good for nothing like me. Oh, my dearest boy, don't say that. I forgot you were rich when I said yes. I'd have married you if you hadn't a penny, and I sometimes wish you were poor, that I might show how much I love you. And Amy, who was very dignified in public and very fond in private, gave convincing proofs of the truth of her words. Hey, Mama Tina, Mama Tennessee J. I don't know what that means. Maybe Julie. You don't really think I'm such a mercenary creature as I tried to be once, did you? Do you? It would break my heart if you didn't believe me that I'd gladly pull the same boat with you, even if you had to get your living by rowing on a lake. Am I an idiot and a brute? How could I think so, when you refused a richer man for me, and won't let me give you half of what I want to now, when I have the right? Girls do have it every day, poor things, and they're taught to think it is their only salvation. But you had better lessons, and though I trembled for you at one time, I was not disappointed, for the daughter was true to the mother's teaching. I told Mama so yesterday, and she looked as glad and as grateful as if I'd given her a check for $1 million to be spent in Oh, okay. And she looked as glad and grateful as if I'd given her a check for $1 million to be spent in charity. You're not listening to my moral remark. You're not listening to my moral remarks, Mrs. Lawrence. And Laurie paused, for Amy's eyes had an absent look, though fixed upon his face. Yes, I am. And I'm admiring the dimple in your chin at the same time. I don't wish to make you vain, But I must confess that I'm prouder of my handsome husband than all of his money. Don't laugh, but your nose is such a comfort to me. And Amy softly caressed the well-cut feature with aristocratic satisfaction. Laurie had received many compliments in his life, but never one that suited him better, as he plainly showed, though he did laugh at his wife's peculiar taste, while she said slowly, "May I ask you a question, dear?" "Of course you may." Shall you care for Joe if she does marry Mr. Bear?" "Shall you care if Joe does marry Mr. Bear?" "Oh, that's the trouble, is it? I thought there was something in that dimple that didn't suit you. Not being a dog in the manger, but the happiest fellow alive, I assure you I can dance at Joe's wedding with a heart as light as my heels. Do you doubt it, my darling?" Amy looked up at him and was satisfied. Her last little jealous fear vanished forever, and she thanked him with a face full of love and confidence. "I wish we could do something for that capital old professor. Couldn't we invent a rich relation who shall obligingly die out there in Germany and leave him with a tidy little fortune?" said Laurie, when they began to pace up and down the long drawing room arm in arm, as they were fond of doing in memory of the chateau garden. "Joe would find us out and spoil it. She's very proud of him just as he is, and said yesterday that she thought poverty was a beautiful thing. Bless her dear heart, she won't think so when she has a Bless her heart, she won't think so when she has a literary husband and a dozen little professors and professorins to support. We won't interfere now, but watch our chance and do them a good turn in spite of themselves. I owe Joe for a part of my education, and she believes in people paying their honest debts, so I'll get around her that way." How delightful it is to be able to help others, isn't it? That's always been one of my dreams, to have the power of giving freely, and thanks to you, my dream has come true. Ah, we'll do quantities of good, won't we? There's one sort of poverty that I particularly like to help. Out and out beggars get taken care of, but poor gentlefolks fare badly because they won't ask and people don't dare to offer charity. Yet there are 1,000 ways of helping them if one only knows how to do it delicately that does not offend. I must say I like to serve a decayed gentleman better than a blarnering beggar. Blarnering beggar. Try and say that one 3 times real fast. I suppose it's wrong, but I do, though it's harder. Because it takes a gentleman to do it, added the other member of the Domestic Admiration Society. Thank you. I'm afraid I don't deserve that pretty compliment, but I was going to say that while I was dawdling about abroad, I saw a good many talented young fellows making all sorts of sacrifices and enduring real hardships that they might realize their dreams. Splendid fellows, some of them, working like heroes, poor and friendless, but so full of courage, patience, and ambition that I was ashamed of myself and longed to give them a right good lift. Those are people whom it's a satisfaction to help. For if they've got genius, it's an honor to be allowed to serve them and not to let them be lost or delayed for want of fuel to keep the pot boiling. If they haven't, it's a pleasure to comfort the poor souls and keep them from despair when they find it out. Yes, indeed. And there's another class who can't ask and who suffer in silence. I know something of it, for I belonged to it before you made a princess of me, as the king does the beggar maid in the old story. Ambitious girls have a hard time, Laurie, and often wish to see youth at the right minute. People have been very kind to me, and whenever I see girls struggling along as we used to, I want to put out my hand and help them as I had been helped. And so you shall, like the angel that you are, cried Laurie, resolving with a glow of philanthropic zeal to found and endow an institution for the express benefit of young women with artistic tendencies. Rich people have no right to sit down and enjoy themselves or let their money accumulate for others to waste. It's not half so sensible to leave legacies when one dies as it is to use the money wisely while alive and enjoy making one's fellow creatures happy with it. We'll have a good time ourselves and add an extra relish to our own pleasure by giving other people a generous taste. Will you be a little will you be a little Dorcas going about emptying a big basket of comforts and filling it up with good deeds? With all my heart, if you will be a brave St. Martin, stomping as you ride gallantly through the world to share your cloak with the beggar. It's a bargain, and we shall get the best of it. So the young pair shook hands upon it and paced happily on again, feeling that their pleasant home was more homelike because they hoped to brighten other homes, believing that their own feet would walk more uprightly along the flowery path before them if they smoothed the rough ways for other feet, and feeling that their hearts were more closely knit together by a love which could tenderly remember those less blessed than they. I would like to read another chapter, but I have work to do. I have editing to do. And I'm canning zucchini and hang on a second. I'm canning zucchini tomorrow and making pickles because guess what? The garden is coming in. So, I'm going to let you guys go now. I'm sorry it was a short chapter. Maybe I'll get another one in this weekend. Howie's going to be at the races. I'm going to be home because I have a feeling going to have more zucchinis to can. All right. I love you guys. Take care. God bless. And how many chapters do we have left? That was 44. Doesn't say. Oh, there it is. Oh, those are illustrations. Okay, we just read 44. There's 45. 46. 47. So there's 3 more chapters, 45, 46, and 47. Oh, I enjoy it. I love reading. It's one of my favorite pastimes. And if I can forget that I'm actually reading live, I do better. And as soon as we're finished Little Women, thank you to Sue Prov, who has sent us Louisa May Alcott's Little Men. That's the timer going on my stove saying that my eggs are ready to be soaked in cold water for tomorrow's pickles. This is the Mrs. Wolfe from Reading with Beverly Wolfe saying, I just love having y'all in my life, whether it's here or on our half acre homestead or even Rumble. I just enjoy your company. So thank you for letting me into your lives. Good night. Take care. God bless. Mwah.